Bismillah, Alhamdulillah. So check out this article in the Daily Mail, posted on the 7th of August at 10 p.m. So I think today's the 8th of August. I have to double check. Anyhow, the new guess who's on the page? Who do we have there? Well. Raspect Rebellion. Well, let's see what this author, Guy Adams, is trying to say. The article is titled The New Face of Race Hate. Marching through London, they claim to be fighting bigotry, but as this expose by Guy Adams, in huge capitals, lays bare, their leader revels in anti-Semitic abuse, with chilling echoes of 1930s fascism. So the new face of race hate. Whose face do they post? Raspect's. What do they claim him to be? Anti-Semitic. Are you kidding me? Anyhow, you see how the media behave? What they do? They make victims of racism, meaning, black people, and they take them and claim that they're the ones disseminating and spreading bigotry. And the go-to card, as usual, is anti-Semitism. Chilling echoes. Look at the use of the word chilling to inspire fear in the reader's mind. Okay, let's have a little read. And also look at the picture you've got on the right-hand side. You've got a number of people dressed in black wearing stab vests. Well, look like stab vests anyway. Alright, so I'm going to read. A group of protesters dressed in black military-style uniforms march in tight formation through the streets of London. A group of protesters. Alright, fine. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with protesting? Military-style uniforms. Are they military-style? I mean, they're just dressed in black. Look, t-shirts, trousers, trainers and boots. How is that military style? The only thing you could say might be military style is the protection vest. So a group of protesters, they're led by strapping men who bellow orders such as "Attend hut" and "Right face," and look like a highly trained group of soldiers out on parade. Okay. Some have dark berets, gloves, and knee-high leather boots. Okay, what's wrong with that? Somebody wears a beret, somebody wears a glove, somebody wears boots. A few carry walkie-talkies. At least one is wearing an IRA-style balaclava. Okay, so the walkie-talkies thing, all right, because they're trying to organize a protest. It makes sense. What's wrong with that? At least one is wearing an IRA-style balaclava. Well, it's a lockdown for some pandemic. Isn't it good practice to cover your face and make sure you're not spreading germs? In some ways, the scene appears to echo the 1930s, when Oswald Mosley's black shirts took their ugly brand of fascism to working-class neighborhoods of our capital city. But this was Brixton, last Saturday. What a false comparison. I mean, Mosley, the father of Max Mosley, I think he's the president or was the president of Formula One. Hence the lack of any racial diversity in that organization, except for Lewis Hamilton. Anyhow, Max Mosley represented people who are white, right? Therefore, they are the majority. This group here represent a minority. How is this reminiscent? A minority walking through the streets is not the same as a majority walking through the streets. What oppression is this group going to do to the majority? Nothing. They're not armed. They're just dressed in black and they're walking in formation. The occasion was a march for African Emancipation Day, held on the first day of August each year to mark both the anniversary of the date in 1834, when the Abolition of Slavery Act came into force, and to campaign for Britain to pay reparations for its role in the transatlantic slave trade. Right? So they're protesting because of, well, they're remembering slavery, that you had to pass an act to put an end to it. And they're highlighting the fact that no reparations have been paid. The protest, yeah, well, where's the justice? Has there been any justice for the slave trade? This is something the author of the article has failed to mention. The protesters in their stab vests and paramilitary style fatigues belonged to a strange new organization that calls itself the Forever Family Force, FFF, formed last month to pursue what its social media feed has described as the battle against racism, inequality, and injustice. It seems to have been conceived as a sort of British version of the Black Panthers, the radical far-left protest group which wore similar garb as it campaigned against police brutality in the 1960s America. In keeping with this tradition, Forever Family has already sparked controversy. They've sparked controversy? Where? Amongst whom? To critics, all right, so amongst critics, the group appears to be importing an inflammatory brand of American-style identity politics, given oxygen by the Black Lives Matter movement, in which people of colour are encouraged to believe that society is so intrinsically racist, their only hope is to mount an organised resistance against the ruling class. All right, so he's criticising this belief as though it's somehow unjustified. Okay, I didn't see that criticism of Joaquin Phoenix when he went to collect his BAFTA award for his movie The Joker, when he made a clear point criticizing racism in the industry. Yeah, these people act like racism doesn't exist. Instead of blaming the racist, they're trying to blame the victims of racism. Those who see them as divisive and intimidating include Nigel Farage, who circulated images of last Saturday's protest on Twitter, saying, "Terrifying scenes in Brixton today. A paramilitary-style force marching in the streets. This is what the BLM wanted from the start, and it will divide our society like never before." Yeah. Well, what are you doing to address racism, Nigel Farage? You keep kicking a can down the road and not picking it up. Eventually, people are going to get fed up of waiting for you to fix the problems. Supporters, for their part, point out that the Brixton event was largely peaceful, with just 3 arrests, and argue that Forever Family is a harmless, if somewhat eccentric, group of well-meaning activists who enjoy dressing up. All right, fair enough. Yeah, look at this picture of the Oswald Nazi movement. What were they called again? The black shirts. Yeah. Are you telling me this author, this journalist, is comparing Forever Family, what are they called? Forever something family, to this movement here? You got somebody wearing medals from his time in the army. This looks much more organized. This camp includes, now imagine being a minority in that community where that group was walking at the time. Although, if you look at this picture, the person towards the back, that looks like a black person. It could just be the image not being very clear. Who knows? This camp includes Jonathan Bartley, co-leader of the Green Party, who responded to Farage by declaring, "You're just trying to create division. But these people in Brixton today know that love and justice will conquer the fear and hate you peddle. Hope is what people need right now, and they're showing the pathway towards it." So, what is the truth? Well, here it is. Here is where it starts to get interesting. So, right, the author is trying to say that one group is, one party is claiming that this group, Forever Family, is extremely terrifying and you need to be worried. We need to prepare ourselves and something needs to be done about them. Whereas another party is saying that, No, they're just spreading hope. They're peaceful. There were hardly any arrests at a huge rally. Um, and he's saying what's the truth? Although his article, he only left one small paragraph to give the point of view that they're peaceful. The rest of the article so far has been purely condemnation towards the group and fear mongering. Despite Mr. Bartley's remark about love and justice, I can reveal here, this journalist now is with narcissism. I can reveal that Forever Family is led by a highly controversial musician who has recently used social media to voice vile slurs amongst other minority groups. He's talking about Raspect, yeah, a controversial musician who used social media to voice vile slurs against minority groups. I've never heard Raspect voice vile slurs at minority groups. Have you? Who's he done that to? You mean Jupiter? Is Jupiter a minority group? Or real? Oh, right, yeah, maybe real because he's a minority. Among other things, he shared deeply anti-transgender memes. Circulated. All right, well, did he? Or did he just share memes about Sophia Lewis? Maybe that's, it was against an individual rather than the group. I don't know. Circulated bizarre anti-vaccination conspiracy theories. So what's wrong with that? Who doesn't share and circulate stuff that they receive on social media? Okay, and suggested that Bill Gates has killed tens of thousands of children in third world countries and is somehow responsible for the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, well, this is what many people are saying. Hasn't he been testing vaccines in Africa and India? Haven't lots of children lost the use of their legs as a result? I mean, he's acting like Bill Gates is some angel. Forever Family's leader has also made a series of here comes the hammer. He's made a series of anti-Semitic remarks blaming Jews for slavery. In a series of Instagram posts this month, he described the Jewish community's alleged role in the slave trade as the original Holocaust, criticized devils who campaigned against left-wing anti-Semitism on social media, and advanced a further selection of conspiracy theories claiming that Jews own the banking system via what he calls the Rothschild bloodline. All right, are these conspiracy theories? Are they just theories? Like, this investigative journalist has failed to investigate the truth of any of these theories. Anyway, it's a wholly revolting worldview for anyone to hold. What's revolting? Especially the leader of a group that purports to campaign against racism. So now this independent investigative journalist has lost the independence part of his journalism. He's now taken a position calling his views revolting. Okay, it's a wholly revolting world. Okay. Indeed, some might argue that the real agenda of this militaristic protest group is not so far removed from that of the Black Panthers, the leaders of whose unofficial successors have denied the Holocaust and called Jews hook-nosed imposters and bloodsuckers of the poor who profiteer from the black community. Well, look what he's doing. He's taking these extreme statements and bringing them to light as though he's linking them to this group, Forever Family. Okay, he's linking these views of hook-nosed Jews and bloodsuckers of the poor, and he's connecting those to Raspect. When has Raspect made these comments or supported them? This is not good journalism. Perhaps that explains why, despite Forever Family's high-profile protests, its founder appears to have taken extensive steps to keep his identity secret. Well, what's wrong with that? You're criticizing something that is not to be criticized. He's done nothing wrong. On paper, the organization is opaque. Opaque. All right, nice word. Its website consists of an image of a clenched fist, along with links to Twitter and Instagram accounts that have been set to private so they can be read only by approved users. Okay, and so it's a private group. And is your Daily Mail journalist group, is it open to the public? I'm sure you have your own editorial team group, which is private. A Facebook page which can also be accessed from the website also allows viewers to watch two short videos which claim the organization exists to mobilize, organize, and centralize community initiatives to empower and support organizations with similar objectives, and say it is united in building a self-sufficient and stable community. All right. What these vague mission statements mean, well, they're mission statements. Mission statements generally are quite vague. Some are specific, but anyway, big deal. Why are you criticizing mission statements? Like Honda, you've all heard of a company called Honda. Their mission statement is, or was, to be a company that society wants to exist. That's quite vague, isn't it? All right. What these vague missions, so he's criticizing their mission statements, and how the group proposes to actually achieve its aims are unclear. Why do you care? Neither its social media accounts nor its website contain any information about who is behind it. Okay. All right. Well, you go to a lot of businesses' websites, you go to the contact us page, and there's no information. There's no address or telephone number to reach them. All that you can do is leave a comment or email them your concern. Big deal. The only supporter who has made his identity publicly known is a musician called Mega. Not the leader of the group referred to above, who performs with the hip-hop collective So Solid Crew. So, alright, so there's a musician called Mega, not Mega Man, is what he's saying. He used Twitter to declare that he took part in last Saturday's protest, boasting, "We locked down Brixton today." So I'm not sure if this person is saying that Mega is Mega Man or Mega is not Mega Man. It's not clear. Yeah. All right. So he's saying that Mega said, right? Mega from So Solid Crew said, "We locked down Brixton today." All right, fine. He means that is not Raspect. It's another musician. Ironically, given this secretive modus operandi, the films circulated by Forever Family also claim that its values are integrity, transparency, and accountability. One thing Forever Family is keen to get its hands on, though, is money. And that is what allows us to trace its founder. Follow the money. Several of its social media pages carry links to a PayPal site where supporters can donate to the cause. Contributions are then, according to PayPal, passed to a company called Forever Family Limited, which was incorporated on the 20th of June and operates out of a service address in Hoxton, East London. Company's house records show the firm's secretary is a 27-year-old woman from Wandsworth, South London, called Rachel Emmanuel. The only director and the group's leader and founder is a 28-year-old resident of Ilford, East London, called Kari Mackenzie, who we know as Raspect. Okay, so this guy's doing proper investigative work. So he's found out that the two employees of the company, neither has responded to a request for comment. Little is known about Miss Emmanuel. However, Mackenzie, who is... That sounds unlike Raspect to not give respond to a request for comment. I'm sure this journalist probably wrote the article 2 hours before publishing it. Didn't give him enough time to respond, but who knows. Little is known about Miss Emmanuel. However, Mackenzie, who is listed as having significant control over Forever Family, is a rap artist who performs under the stage name Raspect. He appears to have become politically active in 2011 after the police shooting of Mark Duggan, a 29-year-old gang member whose death sparked the riots in London and elsewhere that year. In more recent years, Mackenzie has been active in a community called Gang, whose supporters arrive at incidents of gang violence wearing stab vests. Okay, yeah, and using loudhailers to encourage locals onto the streets to reclaim the space. Yeah. In early 2018, Mackenzie made a series of appearances on Victoria Derbyshire's BBC chat show to discuss race relations following the death of Edson da Costa, a 25-year-old from East London who died after swallowing plastic bags of heroin and crack cocaine when his car was stopped by the police. In one bizarre interview with Derbyshire that year, he urged viewers not to call the police to incidents of crime, saying, "Don't call 999, call the G line," an apparent reference to gang's contact number. At around the same time, he was photographed shaking hands with London Mayor Sadiq Khan at City Hall. All right. More recently, Mackenzie filmed himself being, as he put it, rudely interrupted, harassed, and threatened by police officers, who asked why he appeared to be breaking lockdown rules to socialize with a group of acquaintances in a park at the height of the COVID epidemic. And in early June, soon after the killing of George Floyd in the US, he began taking photographs of himself in military clothes at Black Lives Matter protests in London. Military clothes. So that's to be criticised, is it? Is that a crime? In more recent times, Mackenzie's public statements, particularly since Forever Family came into being, have become more volatile, not to mention offensive. All right, so this is subjective. Last year, for example, he used Instagram to share a transphobic joke, suggesting that people who identify as female but are born male are likely to be sex offenders. Well, I can't comment because I haven't seen that joke. A man followed a young girl into Asda toilets in London. All right, so he's put this in quotes. Maybe this is the meme he's talking about. A man followed a young girl into Asda toilets in London, saying he identifies as a woman, it read. The man's teeth were knocked out by the girl's father, who said he identifies as a tooth fairy. Okay. What's the issue with that? I don't get it. In spring this year, he uploaded several posts to Instagram. So what he's doing is trying to throw, what's the word? Not shade, but try to make Raspect appear as some dangerous element that needs to be watched. In spring this year, he uploaded several posts to Instagram making various claims about Bill Gates, suggesting that the Microsoft founder is somehow exploiting the COVID crisis to try to force mandatory vaccinations on the world. This odd theory, conspiracy theory, doing the rounds in corners of the internet popular with the anti-vaxxer movement, reflects the senseless belief that Mr. Gates has established that vaccines will kill people who take them, and is therefore endorsing them as part of a plot to reduce the global population. So again, this journalist is imposing his subjective point of view, calling this belief senseless. Well, it's not senseless. Vaccines do kill people who take them, and I can post a video article about this, done by proper investigative journalists from the United States. And yeah, I'll probably do that later. But this journalist is really doing a disservice to journalism. The same guy who says we need to depopulate suddenly wants to save everyone with his vaccines. Read one such post by Mackenzie. Well, there's evidence of Bill Gates saying he wants the world to depopulate. So, what's wrong with that? How is this something to be criticized for? Another claimed wrongly, he writes, yeah, this is subjective from the author again. He says, he put in comma, wrongly. So, another claimed wrongly that 48,000 children in India had been paralyzed by Bill Gates' polio vaccine. A third post called him a documented thief who owns vaccine companies and visited Jeffrey Epstein's pedo island countless times. So both of these claims, according to this journalist, are wrong. Let's see what he says now. In fact, there is no evidence that Mr. Gates is a criminal, nor that he ever visited Mr. Epstein's private island. In brackets now, although he did meet him once, travelled on his private jet. Oh gosh. So he went on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, and you're saying that Raspect is wrong to make that claim. Where did he go to on that jet? So you're saying he didn't go to the island? What a joke. This journalist is obviously a security guard to protect these criminals. All right, Mackenzie isn't just posting paranoid content on Instagram, however. He also uploads blatantly anti-Semitic content. The good thing I suppose with Raspect is that he doesn't keep his videos on YouTube, right? Otherwise, um, he could pull out some seriously detrimental material. Although it wouldn't necessarily look bad on Raspect, it would look bad on the people on the panels. Right. In June, he began using the network to attack the Jewish community. All right, here comes the bit that's unacceptable in society. Raspect attacked the Jewish community. Okay, let's see if there's any substance behind this. Sharing a false conspiracy theory that the restraining technique of kneeling on the neck, as used by the police officer who killed George Floyd in Minneapolis in May, had been learnt during secret seminars with Israeli security forces. Now, this is not a false conspiracy theory. This is where this journalist now is to be disregarded. He's a complete shill, right? He's what's known in the business as a prostitute, not a prostitute, a member of the press who just prints for money. Israelis themselves have admitted that they are the ones who teach American forces these techniques, right? Check out Jewish Voices for Peace. Check out what happened in Durham, North Carolina, where the government of Durham voted to stop the police training in Israel and using their techniques. So it's not a false conspiracy theory. Research who funded the transatlantic slave trade, biggest Holocaust and crime against humanity, with no reparations, he declared in one Instagram post, illustrated with images of the Israeli Defense Force. Look who is behind training police in the United States and the UK to put their legs on our necks. Well, that is not a theory, it's a fact. Similar sentiments were voiced at around the same time by the Corbynite actress Maxine Peake, leading to the sacking of Shadow Cabinet Minister Rebecca Long Bailey, who described her as a diamond. Peake later apologized. Yeah, she shouldn't have apologized because what she shared was correct. Last week, Mackenzie and you can check the video on my channel regarding that issue because I uploaded something when that happened. Last week, Mackenzie continued in this questionable vein by using Instagram to share a video of himself giving a rambling speech about Zionism. Every Zionist is an Islamophobe, he said. It don't make me anti-Semitic if I don't agree with the oppression in Palestine. That's foolishness, yeah? Okay. All right. What's the deal? So when we're talking about Zionists and even talking about I'm not sure if I agree with that statement though. Is every Zionist an Islamophobe? I mean, there are Zionists who want to live peacefully with Arabs. They just want to have control of that state. The problem is those who want to do ethnic cleansing and those who want to do genocide and those who want to do apartheid. Those are the three options, really. So in a sense, yeah, to be a Zionist, you have to want one of those three things. Otherwise, your state cannot exist. Okay. So when we're talking about Zionists, and even talking about if I don't agree with the people that run the banks, yeah, and by them running the banks, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. If I don't agree with that, that don't make me anti-no one. I'm just anti-oppression. Yeah, good. If I look in my history book and see there were people with Zionist blood that were heavily involved in the transatlantic slave trade, me pointing that out doesn't make me anti-Semitic. Yeah, what you're doing is stating a fact. You're not, unless the reason you're saying it is to drum up hatred towards a particular people unjustly, that would be different. The next day, Mackenzie attacked the Devils, who had successfully persuaded Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter to close the accounts of a rap artist called Wiley, who had made a series of highly anti-Semitic attacks on the Jewish community. As well as circulating a petition calling for Wiley's reinstatement, his posts attacking the move carried a series of anti-Semitic hashtags, including Rothschild's bloodline and Who owns the banks, advancing the Nazi-era slur that Jews are in control of all international finance. Okay. In response to those posts, a spokesman for the campaign against anti-Semitism tells me there is no justification for using anti-Semitic tropes to commemorate the horrors of slavery or protest ongoing racism in society today. And who's this spokesman for campaign against anti-Semitism? He didn't mention his name. Forever Family should appreciate that for ordinary decent people, and the Jewish community in particular, seeing a paramilitary group wearing black shirts and marching through the streets of London, led by a man who rails against Zionist bloodlines, is frighteningly reminiscent of humanity's darkest hour, and does nothing to further the noble cause of fighting racism. Prejudice cannot be beaten by more prejudice. To put things more bluntly, the group that dressed up in uniform to reclaim the streets of Brixton a week ago and was so publicly endorsed by the co-leader of the Green Party has rather too much in common with those fascist black shirts who paraded through London in similar garb more than 80 years ago. That's the end of the article. Will it show us any comments, or do you have to sign up? Oh look, Sabrina 8 says, sickening. The drill video is so cringeworthy. Go home and stop making fools of yourselves. Well, they need to be disbanded for a start. Intimidation and paramilitary groups are illegal in the UK. Swiss Chris, expat from Geneva, writes, do they wear the uniform to the Dole office too? Oh gosh. Disgusting, shouldn't be allowed. Understandable for the US, but for the UK? Says somebody from Russia. Why not for the UK? They're not carrying weapons or guns. What did they actually do wrong? But the flipping EDL can go and, pee on statues and throw missiles at police and do what they want in central London. No criticism for them. Sickening, says Ade. Yeah, okay. Sickening, just sickening. Sounds like troll accounts from the same user posting the same messages. And if this happened with people wearing white sheets, yeah, all right, so we want equal rights for white racists as well. Anyhow, that's enough of that article. So who is Guy Adams? Here's what he looks like. That's Guy Adams for you. Obviously, it's not going to be a black man or a Muslim or a what do they call those people? Hebrew Israelite. This is Guy Adams. On Mashable, they have an article about him saying he was suspended from Twitter for tweeting an NBC email. There he goes. He's actually the UK's correspondent to the United States. I think he's in Los Angeles at the moment. I don't know if he's still there, but Guy Adams, a Los Angeles correspondent for the London paper The Independent, was suspended from Twitter on July the 30th after tweeting the email account of Gary Zenkel, the president of NBC Olympics. That was in 2012. So that's Guy Adams for you. If I were Kari McKenzie, I would consider, why is he publishing the names of those people in Company's House? Like the company secretary, Michelle, is it Michelle Emmanuel or Rachel Emmanuel? Why is he doing that? I think I would file a complaint with the newspaper. I'll get lawyers involved because he's doing a form of libel. He's making you look like he's making a peaceful protesting group look like what's it called? Something that is to be feared, a terrorist organization. He compared them to the IRA at one point. This is a gross misrepresentation, and I would consult lawyers to complain to the Daily Mail. Get some legal action, some reparations, yeah? Anyhow, thanks for watching that.